Sure.
Not professionals, but nevertheless.
Right. Yeah. That'll do it.
We're going to go through a basic pre-flight on this thing first. This is where we check the oil. It's also the filler cap. I hope you can see this.
Yep.
It's just a little shy of full, but as on most airplanes, if you fill them completely up, all you're doing is adding a nice oil undercoating to the belly of your airplane. So about where it is about where we've been running it.
This is degraded at all, or no? It's a floor, or just not graded?
It is graded.
Okay, so it's roughly...
I don't know what that says, but maybe you can see there. It says full right there, it looks
Full.
like. So just a little under full.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know how many quarts this thing takes or anything.
3/4 inch shy of full. Okay, so you've been running it.
And then as usual, we walk around the airplane. I'm looking for any nicks or cracks in the prop. Looking for any obvious damage, and make sure the tires are correctly inflated. Come around here, tire looks good. I don't see any problems on the underside of the wing. There is one inspection plate missing right here, and we found it on our pre-flight at Vernal, Utah, and the plate is actually in the glove compartment. It was missing some screws and flapping, so we took it off. And that should be a real easy fix.
There we go. Perfect.
Let me turn on the master so I can get the nav lights on. Master switch, nav lights, and landing light. Landing light is on. We'll just check the landing lights on our way around. Here's the pitot probe.
Yeah. Any stall warning sound or no?
None that I've ever seen or heard. Ooh, that light doesn't seem to be on here. Turn off the wrong one. Well, that could be why the ADS-B they didn't see us. The nav lights don't appear to be on.
Okay.
See if there's a fuse. We have a burnt fuse. I think there's one right here in the glove box. That was a 10 amp. I was wondering why it came with so many fuses. Now I'm starting to understand.
Put a penny in there.
No, we're not going to do that. Turn this off. And let's see if we have nav lights. Yes, we have a nav light. And that also turns on the ADS-B, as I mentioned previously. The fuse?
Yeah, just show me a little
Position
spot.
light, 10 amp.
Okay, so just there.
That's all I did,
Just
yep.
there.
We have a position light here. And the ADS-B will now work, yay! So we're gonna turn off the nav and turn the master back off. The fuel indicator is showing about 8 gallons of fuel. That's more than enough for what we're going to do.
It's one broad flap.
Yeah, pretty effective too. Since you're going to be in a hangar, you don't have probably won't have a lot of problem with birds, but one of the biggest problems we have for anything parked on the ramp is birds will get inside here and build nests. So I always like to kind of look through here for issues with that.
Yeah, we had that with the common.
Okay.
Had a bunch of birds on it.
So do you want to take responsibility for the tow bar?
Sure.
Now the easiest way to get in is just to stand on the wing where it's black, obviously, and then step on the seat itself, and then step down in, putting a hand on either side, and slowly lowering yourself down into position. And once you get in, it's really not too bad. I'm 5'10", and I don't have a lot of problems with anything. So before I start the engine, I check the trim to make sure it's at this vertical line right here, because that's a good takeoff location. I make sure the throttle's all the way out, and then I make sure the thing is on main tank. You always want to start and land, take off and land on the main tank. You can use the auxiliary during cruise, but make sure you take off and land on the main. For your initial start of the day, you're going to use the primer here, and a full pump, maybe a pump and a half on a really cold morning, is all you really need. And then you turn the switch to both, and you would press the button to fire it up. Well, today, since the solenoid wire or whatever has come loose, we're going to hand prop the thing. Now, in order to start it, you're going to give it just a little bit of gas, turn the magnetos to both, hold the brakes, and then let somebody spin the props. And we're going to have Zach do it because he's done it already, and he's experienced in hand propping. Yeah. Hey, Zach, can you come hand prop me? And in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and get the seat belts on.
Right. Now in one of the movies, the way back movies, we saw one guy actually propping it, kind of
sitting on the, yeah.
And then getting into it, but not advised. It would be easy.
Maybe with the 22 horsepower Crosley. No, I'm not. Yes, I am. Give me just a minute.
You ready?
Magnetos are hot, brakes are on, contact. Now once you get the canopy closed, there's this really high-tech canopy lock, which just goes on here, holds the canopy from coming undone. If it were to come undone and the canopy were to open, it wouldn't be the end of the world. You can actually fly this with the canopy open. I'm going to set the mixture in just a little bit. Right about there, actually. Now the other things we want on are our nav lights. We want the transponder on. We do not want the fuel pump on unless we're changing tanks. The turn-in bank gets turned on. Make sure this is in and locked. Master switch on. And we can turn on our radio. airflow, and heat. This right here selects which one of the cylinders is sending the EGT information to the indicator. I found that the 2 or 3 position seems to work the best. Run-up on this thing is very basic. Get stopped. Bring your RPMs up to about 1500. Go from both to right. You have a drop. Back to both. And then the left. And the drop for either one of them should not be more than 100 RPM. Traffic. Mite 4168. Takeoff in this airplane is very easy. Get yourself on the center line of the runway and very slowly advance the throttle, keeping yourself centered on the center line with your rudders, just like any other airplane. You need a lot of right rudder during takeoff. Fast short coupled, so small movements on the rudder will make a pretty drastic change. I'm applying both brakes to get this thing slowed down for the turn onto Charlie. Letting it idle in. Deer Park traffic, Mite 4168 down there. At this point, you can go ahead and open the canopy if you want. Taxi it over to your hangar.
Sure.